It's curious how so many people chase after earning more, but almost no one stops to think differently. Most keep living in the same cycle. Work, pay bills, complain about prices, and wait for the month to turn. But the truth is, earning more means nothing if your way of thinking stays the same. We live in a time where inflation acts like a silent thief. The money that used to fill a shopping cart yesterday barely covers the basics today. And it's not just the fault of the country you live in. It's the result of global decisions, like trade tariffs imposed by governments like Trump's, which affect the cost of living here, even from far away. When the world shakes, the pockets of those with less feel it first. And then you ask yourself, how am I going to get rich like this? The answer starts inside your head. Robert Kiyosaki always said, rich people educate themselves to understand money. Poor people avoid the subject. And he's right. Most people avoid talking about money out of fear, shame, or the belief that it's only for those who already have a lot. But freedom doesn't start at the bank. It starts in the mind. The first asset a wealthy person builds is their mindset. While some see themselves as eternal employees, others begin to see opportunities. While many say, that's not for me, a few stop and ask, how can I learn this? The turning point happens when you decide to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator of value, of ideas, of solutions, of assets. And it doesn't matter how much you earn today. What matters is how you think about it, because money will always follow those with a mind prepared to multiply it. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the problem isn't how much you earn, but how much you let slip away? Most people believe they'll only be able to change their lives once they start earning more. But the truth is, if you don't know how to manage what you have now, earning more will only make you spend faster. That's what our character realized after years of saying, I make too little to save anything. One day, after watching a simple video online, he decided to try a new idea. Write down every cent that left his pocket. He grabbed a notebook page, scribbled down the days of the month, and started. He wrote down the coffee at the bakery, the app ride, the just one thing from the store, the weekend delivery. And what he discovered was shocking. Money was leaking through small open faucets all the time. It was like trying to fill a leaky bucket. That's when he understood a quote from Robert Kiyosaki he had never taken seriously. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. That's when everything started to change. He created a simple but powerful rule. Live on 70% of what he earned. Set aside 10% to invest, even if it was a small amount. 10% to learn, buy a book, take a course, see value in knowledge, and 10% for an emergency fund, because he knew unexpected things always happen. At first, it was hard. He had to give up some comforts, say no to impulse spending, and resist the old excuse, just for today. But with each passing month, he felt something different growing. Control. And with it, the peace of knowing where his money was going. He realized that organizing a little isn't being stingy, it's being wise, because those who learn to manage little are preparing to multiply much. While most people complain, there's nothing left. He decided to make something remain. While many remain in the dark, he turned on the light of financial awareness. And you know what's most beautiful? The feeling of freedom began before the money increased. It started when he changed the way he related to it. You can keep waiting for money to be left over, or you can start building your path with what you already have. Organization isn't just a spreadsheet, it's respect for your future, and the future starts today. There comes a moment in life when you realize you can't rely on just one. Paycheck bills increase, the price of rice, electricity, gas, everything goes up, except your salary, and then comes the feeling of suffocation. You work all month, but the money seems to slip through your fingers. You wake up early, face traffic, come home tired, and in the end, what's left? Almost nothing. That's what Kiyosaki calls the rat race. You run, 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 but never get anywhere. And the question is, how long are you going to accept that? Extra income isn't a luxury, it's an emergency exit. It's the first step to turn the game around. And you don't need to start big. Maybe you know how to make sweets, or you're good at math and could offer tutoring. Maybe you can sell something, sew, fix things, take care of pets, do crafts, prepare meals. It's not about how much you make. At the beginning, it's about what you do with what you have. It's about starting, and yes, in the beginning it's tiring. You'll work double. There will be tough days, but you know what the difference is now. You're building something of your own. It's not just another job, it's freedom under construction. Every sale, every delivery, every satisfied customer is another brick on the path that leads out of financial struggle. You don't have to quit your job right now, but you do need to open other doors, because whoever has only one source of income lives in constant risk. Want to get out of the rat race? Start with what's in your hands. The financial return might take time, but the return in self-esteem, confidence, and future vision that comes with your very first try. Have you ever realized that working Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. doesn't always guarantee a peaceful life? Your paycheck barely hits your account, and it's already spoken for. Electricity bill, rent, groceries, maxed out credit card. So you take a deep breath, look at your bank statement and think, it wasn't supposed to be like this. But it is, and it will continue. If you don't change the game, that's where extra income comes in, not as a luxury, but as survival, as an escape from the so-called rat race. You know that feeling of running all month and still staying in the same place? That's it. Work, pay, and never anything left, but there is another way. It begins when you look at what you already know how to do, even if it seems simple, and turn that into a solution. Sweets to sell, meals to deliver, tutoring, sewing, crafts, reselling products. It's more about action than perfection. At first, it may seem small, but believe me, that first order, that first client, that first money that didn't come from your boss changes everything. Because along with the cash comes the feeling of, I can do this, and that has no price. Extra income isn't just more money. It's control. It's the power to choose. It's the ability to say no when you want. It's freedom being built little by little. Is it hard work? Of course. Does it require effort? Absolutely. But it's precisely that effort that starts pulling you out of dependence, stagnation, and fear. You can earn $2,000 a month or $20,000. If you don't know how to handle money, the result will be the same, an empty wallet and stress. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how well you understand the game. Because money isn't just about working and paying bills. Money is a tool, and those who don't learn to use it will always be used by it. That's why financial education is not a luxury, it's survival. And no, you don't need to wait for a college degree. Today there are videos, books, podcasts, YouTube channels, free content teaching what no one ever taught. What assets and liabilities are, what cash flow is, how investments work, what makes you wealthy, and what just keeps you stylishly in debt. The truth is, a lot of people get lost because they confuse status with wealth. They buy expensive phones, finance cars, wear brand-name clothes, and think they're winning. But all of that is a liability. It doesn't put money in your pocket, it just takes it out. Meanwhile, those who understand the game are investing, creating income streams, and making money work for them. When you start learning about finances, your vision changes. You stop falling into traps, you start making better choices, and you see the future more clearly. And it's not about becoming an economics expert, it's about knowing enough to avoid being deceived. To not be a hostage, to not depend on luck, politicians, or raises. Your freedom begins with knowledge. And the best asset you can have is you, with a sharp mind. Have you noticed how people always say, when I have money, I'll start investing? Yeah. But that when never comes for those who think like that. What most people don't understand is that investing doesn't start with a lot of money. It starts with the decision to make even a little work for you. Imagine someone earning $2,000 per month. Seems like too little to invest, right? But what if, instead of waiting to earn more, that person started with 20? That's right, 20 Rs, less than a fast food meal, less than a trip to the mall or a pizza on the weekend. It might seem insignificant, but that gesture is where the mindset shift begins. Because investing, before it's about numbers, is about behavior. It's about saying, today I choose to stop working only for money and start making money work for me. Those who start investing early, even if with just a little gain time, and in the world of investments, time is everything. With time, compound interest becomes your ally, a small amount becomes capital, and knowledge becomes freedom. And no, you don't need to be a specialist or understand the stock market or speak in complicated terms like an economist. Nowadays, with a phone in your hand, you can learn the basics and get started. CDBs, treasury bonds, real estate funds, fractional, shares, cryptocurrencies. All of that is within reach. You can start with digital accounts that offer automatic investing, use apps that round up your change and invest it for you, or set a goal. Every week I'll invest $10, and you'll be surprised at how much that grows over time. The big shift is this: understanding that saving money is not the end, it's the beginning. Saving is step one. Investing is step two. Because saving $1,000 and leaving it untouched today is watching that money get eaten away by inflation. But investing that same $1,000 over time is building something. It's seeing your money grow, slowly but steadily, and don't wait for life to get better to start. Those who wait for things to get easy before taking action stay stuck forever. Start small, but start now. Because the habit of investing, even a little, teaches self-control, builds discipline, and over time, creates wealth. This isn't just about numbers in your bank account. It's about gaining the freedom to choose, to say yes or no without fear. And that kind of freedom only comes when your money starts working for you, not the other way around. It's incredible how 5 months can seem like such a short time in someone's life. Until that person decides to truly change. When someone makes a genuine decision to turn things around, to take control of their finances, everything around them begins to transform. The 5-month plan isn't a magic formula or an empty promise. It's a real concrete path based on small daily decisions that, with consistency, become big achievements. This plan begins with a simple idea. External change only happens after internal change. And from there, each month becomes a step in personal and financial growth. In the first month, the most important thing of all happens: awakening. It's when you, who always believed the only solution was to make more money, realize that true power lies in how you think about money. Maybe you watched a Robert Kiyosaki video, read a book excerpt, or simply reflected after a conversation that kept echoing in your mind. It's in that moment you understand. I'm not a victim of the system. I can create opportunities. I can build something. That mental shift is what separates those still waiting for a raise from those starting to build freedom. In the second month, with a clearer mind, it's time to get organized. You start tracking everything, every coffee, every grocery trip, every transfer, and you realize much of your money was just slipping through your fingers. You set yourself a real challenge. Live on 70% of your income and divide the other 30% between investing in yourself, 10%, investing in the future, 10%, and saving for emergencies, 10%. It's tough at first, but little by little, you see how financial control gives you power. It's not about earning tons of money, but about mastering what you already have. And that changes everything. In the third month, with your mind in place and your finances organized, it's time for action, generating extra income. You look around and start with what you have, a skill, a talent, an opportunity. It could be selling sweets, making meal boxes, doing weekend deliveries, offering a simple service. It doesn't matter. What matters is now you feel in control. The effort is big, sure, the days are long, but there's something new pulsing inside you. The satisfaction of seeing money come in from your own effort as a direct result of your actions. In the fourth month, with a small amount of capital, you get brave and start investing. Not in real estate or million-dollar businesses. Just small steps. $20, then $50, then $100. You learn about CDBs, treasury bonds, fractional shares, maybe even crypto. You understand what assets are, and slowly you begin to make money work for you. The feeling is unlike anything you've experienced before. Now money isn't just something that comes and goes. It starts to multiply. And then comes the fifth month. You look back and can hardly believe it. You didn't win the lottery. You didn't get government help. You didn't rely on luck. But today you have a steady source of extra income, even if it's modest. You've started investing. Your financial knowledge has grown. Your mindset has completely changed. You're no longer dependent on a fixed salary or afraid of not having enough. And it all started with one decision. Just one. This 5-month plan is real. It's possible. And best of all, it's within reach of anyone willing to change one decision at a time. Because when you change on the inside, the world around you changes too. And that's true wealth. Everyone talks about the crisis, inflation that won't stop, rising food prices, electricity bills, rent. Presidents come and go, parties change, but the feeling is always the same. Money seems to disappear before the end of the month. It's natural to blame the government. It's comfortable to say the problem is the economy, that with Trump, it was like this, with Lula like that interest rates are high because of the central bank. And yes, all of that has an influence. But there's something more powerful than any decision made by a president, the way you think and act in the face of it. While some people watch the news and are filled with fear, others use the same information to adjust their sails. The difference isn't in the scenario, it's in the mindset. People with a wealthy mentality see beyond the headlines. Do they know inflation is high? Yes, but they also know that waiting for the country to improve doesn't pay the bills. And more than that, it doesn't build wealth. Robert Kiyosaki always said, "The rich don't wait for the government. They create opportunities in any situation." That doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means not surrendering to it. Those with a growth mindset understand that even earning little, they can learn to invest, create extra income, sell knowledge, and escape the rat race. Because, at the end of the day, the real crisis begins when you give up. When you believe you were born to struggle. When you accept that your destiny is just to work to pay bills, and nothing more. That, in fact, is the greatest risk in your life. A complacent mind. What changes your reality isn't the next president. It's the next decision you make. A lot of people spend their entire lives repeating the same phrases. You can't get rich earning little. I don't have a business mindset. Investing is for people who already have money. But stop and think. Are these statements facts or prisons? Because every time you say something like that, your mind closes. And when the mind closes, there's no room for growth. Now notice how everything changes when you swap those statements for questions. For example, how can I get rich even earning little? What can I learn today that will make me money tomorrow? How can I make money work for me? It's simple but powerful. When you change the question, you force your brain to seek new solutions. You open windows where you once only saw walls. People with a wealthy mindset constantly question things. They're not satisfied with, "That's how it's always been." They ask, "Why not?" And "How can I make this better?" Kiyosaki talks a lot about this. The quality of your financial life is directly related to the quality of the questions you ask. If you only ask, "Why am I always broke?" your mind will find someone to blame. But if you ask, "How can I create a new source of income with what I know today?" your mind will start looking for paths. So from now on, every time you feel stuck, frustrated, or lost, stop, breathe, and ask, "What am I not seeing yet?" Because the key to financial transformation is often not in the money. It's in the right question. There's a silent habit that makes thousands of people poorer every day, spending to appear instead of investing to grow. It's a familiar cycle. We buy clothes we don't need, phones we barely use, and dinners that only serve to feed our ego. At the end of the month, the credit card is maxed, and our wallets are crying. But why does this happen? Because we've been trained since childhood to believe wealth is about appearances. The car in the garage, the brand of the purse, the latest phone. But that's not wealth. That's consumption. And consumption, when excessive, is like a hole in a bucket. No matter how much money comes in, it always leaks out. Now imagine the opposite. Instead of buying another pair of sneakers, you buy a book. Instead of financing a new phone, you invest in an online course. Instead of spending $300 on a weekend out, you use that amount to start a side hustle. That's not about not living. It's about choosing to build a future instead of keeping up appearances. Kiyosaki explains it clearly. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take it out. The problem isn't having liabilities, it's having too many before you've built any assets. Yes, you can have a good life, but it needs to be built on something sustainable. The key is to flip the logic. Consume less now to gain freedom later. Trade instant gratification for solid construction. And when the money finally comes in, it won't be to impress others. It will be to live in peace, debt-free, fearless, and fully independent. Because in the end, those who only consume are always chasing the next month, but those who build eventually make the month work for them. There are people who, when they see someone succeeding in life, respond with mockery. They must have scammed someone. They probably got lucky. That must be some scheme. But this kind of reaction only reveals a deeper issue. A mind closed to learning. Cynicism might seem like protection, but in reality, it's a barrier to growth. Now, look at the other side. Some people see someone successful and think differently. What did they do to get there? How do they think about money? What habits do they have that I don't yet? That's the kind of curiosity that transforms. It's the mindset that Robert Kiyosaki promotes in all his teachings. Learn from those who've already reached where you want to go. Instead of envying, investigate. Instead of criticizing, ask questions. Major transformations begin when you set your pride aside and allow yourself to be a learner. Some people go to a barbecue and only talk about sports. Others go to the same barbecue and ask, "How did you start your business? What would you do differently if you were starting today? Can you recommend a good book?" These questions can change lives, because when you get close to someone who knows more than you, something incredible happens. You shorten the path. You learn from others' mistakes, avoid traps, and discover shortcuts. But that only happens with humility. Humility to admit you don't know everything, and courage to step out of your comfort zone. So next time you cross paths with someone who's a few steps ahead, resist the urge to judge. Take a deep breath and remember, that might be the person who'll give you the advice that changes your financial life. Money can be earned, lost, and earned again. But time, once it's spent, it never comes back. And that's one of the greatest traps of modern life. We trade our time for money, then spend that money on distractions just to forget how exhausted we are. A silent cycle that keeps us trapped. Hard work is important, but working only for money, without a strategy, is like running on a treadmill. You get tired but stay in the same place. That's where one of Kiyosaki's most powerful lessons comes in. True wealth isn't about having a lot of money. It's about having quality free time. Think about it. Do you really want to spend the best years of your life just surviving? Waking up early, getting home late, with no time for your family, no time for yourself? Or would you rather build a solid foundation where money works for you and you finally gain something rare? The freedom to choose how you live? It all starts with awareness, understanding that your time is a precious asset. And if used wisely, it can bear fruit. You could spend just 1 hour a day learning about investments, another 30 minutes organizing your finances, and maybe one afternoon a week starting a side project or creating an extra income stream. It might not seem like much, but with consistency, it changes everything. It's not about quitting work. It's about working smart. It's about turning your free time into productive time. About planting today so you can harvest tomorrow. Because if you're always using your time just to put out fires, you'll never build the house. So before you ask, how much will this pay me? Ask, how much of my time will this cost? Does this choice bring me closer to or further from my freedom? Yes, money is important, but time is sacred. Learn to use it as your ally, and the freedom you've been dreaming of will start taking shape. Now that you've made it this far, maybe you've realized that the real journey toward financial freedom doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mind. Every choice, every step, every small habit can be a brick in building a new life, lighter, safer, and freer. You don't need a huge salary to start. What you need is courage, vision, discipline, and above all, the desire to get out of autopilot and take control. If this content made you reflect, then it was already worth it. But imagine how many people are still lost, living on autopilot, not knowing there's another way. Share this video with someone you love. Maybe they're in need of these exact words to take their first step. Oh, and before you go, do me and yourself a favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Here, you'll always find content that transforms, opens your mind, and brings you closer to a more prosperous life. The journey continues, and you're not alone. Let's go together.